Hey everybody, get going here. Again, if anybody worries, I've got this on a pedestal, so I'm not, in this situation I'm pretty careful, so don't worry if I'm driving here and I'm talking, I'm okay. I thought today that I would talk about one of the suggestions, and I think it's how do you interrupt, or when you're in a bad place, could be whatever it is, could be depression, could be a bout of uncontrollable anger, uncontrollable anxiety. What are things that you can do to break that cycle and get things so that you're back into a position of self-awareness? I think when we're in that state, we're obviously not thinking clearly, because, as I've shared many times that it's about untruth. And the stuff that we end up experiencing is untruthful lies that are a manifestation of our illness. Our illness is our illness. It's real. It's things that happen. But as a byproduct of those eccentricities, I guess, and hypersensitivities, for lack of a better term, we're vulnerable. And that's really what it boils down to, is when we're in these states, we're vulnerable. And we're vulnerable to some pretty bad garbage because we're not thinking clearly and we're not able to discern what is true from what is not. So that's the bottom line. The bottom line is when we're in that position, in that state, we don't know what is true and we don't know what is not. And we're very easy and susceptible to suggestion. And that's why the whole enemy thing and the whole thing related to untruth is so vital to understand, because we're so vulnerable to suggestion that, we start to believe garbage that is just a pile of crap, and it sucks us and sends us further down the rabbit hole. We spiral further. The way that I've excuse me, I still have my cough. The way that I have dealt with this, and this happened for my mother-in-law, is she initially gave me a coin. And this coin was one that actually had the armor of God on it. So that's how I kind of got this whole thing of the armor of God. That doesn't have to be what you think or believe. It doesn't even have to be something that is related to scriptural or not. But once I realized that I needed something is a physical reminder that when I was in that place, I would break out and I'd say, I'd look at this and I'd be like, oh, that's right. That's what reminds me. Maybe it's something your kids made for you. Maybe it's something that's special, that's a family heirloom, a ring. I don't care, whatever it is. I think wearing something or having something with you at all times is a great reminder that when you're in a bad place, you can reference that and look at that, and that can help, I think, remind you and trigger you that, hey, God really loves you. My family loves me. The people around me love me. I'm loved regardless. I'm accepted, and I'm okay. And I may be broken and I may be hurting, but I'm in God's eyes I'm perfect, and I'm something that is not a mistake. So I think that's one method that I've used that's been very helpful for me, is using that is to interrupt, is to hold on to this tangible, visible piece that says, oh, that's right. For me, it's armor of God. That's what I got to remember. I got to remember I'm protected. God's got my back. The other thing I'd say is our blog. If you're in a really bad place, you got a smartphone. Go ahead and give a shout out for someone to pray for you. That's the whole point of this thing that we are creating with my blog, is to be a community that we all help each other. And I've seen this already, and it's really awesome. I love seeing people help other people in this. So I would encourage you as well to not only have something tangible, but reach out to us and share with us when you're struggling, because I guarantee you that other people will respond and they'll pray for you and they will relate and they will sympathize, and ultimately give you support and encouragement when you're in a bad place. Obviously, when it gets into a situation where it's dangerous, that's a whole nother ball of wax. And we want to do whatever we can to prevent you from getting in, or an individual to get into that space where they are in harm's way, that they could hurt themselves. So, there's stopgaps that we have to put in place. I would start with this. And then, obviously when you get into emergency situations, you need to have an individual or person that is aware and can be, notified. Again, if you can't, it's really important that you come up with a method that allows you to be able to interrupt the cycle, like I said. And if you can do that, I think a lot of times then you can cry for help. And that's what we have to realize, is that if we don't ask for help, we're going to get sucked down the rabbit hole. We've got to be able to humble ourselves enough to say, I need help. Please, someone, whether it's our group, whether it's a family or a friend, whether it's God, saying, I need help. Because the thing is, no matter what, no matter who's around, God's always there, so you can always ask him for help. But again, I think our group is going to be something that you can post anything pretty much any time. And generally speaking, unless it might be the middle of the night, I think people are going to respond. And, that's something that you can take solace in, is that there's, we have a community now. So there you go. Ways to interrupt the cycle when you're having an episode, and, different methods to be able to break that and ultimately ask for help. God bless you always, guys.